Okay, here we go. This is my first live on LinkedIn using StreamYard. My name is Jen Oknin, and I hope we're live on LinkedIn. I'm going to double check this here. So apologize now for any sort of strange delays. But here we go. Live on LinkedIn using StreamYard. My name is Jen. Okay, here we go. What I've just realized now is I have my LinkedIn Live on my phone here streaming. So we are good. We're here. Comments apparently are only going to show up on my LinkedIn phone, not here on StreamYard. So we'll have to figure that out a little bit later. But I'm going to keep my phone up here so that I can see all your comments and we can interact. And again, this is my first time ever. Oh, wait, I've got Pete Morris. Hey, Pete. Thanks so much for joining. He's in the StreamYard and I can see that here. So this is my first time actually using this as a broadcast host versus being a guest. So I'm sure it's going to get better as we go on, but I am super excited to have everyone here. Hey, Kathleen. Roshan, oh, fantastic. So everybody who's joining, if you could type in what city, country that you're joining from, I would so appreciate it. So let's see. I see some comments here. Hey, Tanya, I saw your comments here on the LinkedIn, but not in the StreamYard. So we'll have to troubleshoot that one after. But again, so where's everybody joining from today? Kathleen, where are you at, girl? We've got Pete. Let's see. Kathleen, Texas. Nice. It must be so hot there. We have got an extreme heat warning here in Atlanta, Georgia, where I am. I definitely chose to work out on my Peloton in the basement instead of going outside for a run. Beverly, thanks for joining from Atlanta. I love it. Another Atlanta lady in the house. Pete, San Antonio. Fantastic. CLT. Daniel, hey. What's CLT? Kathleen, it's gross. You crack me up, girl. Brenda, hello. Thank you so much for joining. Brenda is one of my clients. She did absolutely fantastic. I actually highlighted her on my masterclass as one of my success stories. No more cravings, right, lady? San Diego, California. Wow. Paris. Majorca. Oh, fantastic. I was just in Majorca 2 months ago when I went to Europe, and Paris. Wow. I had the most amazing New Year's Eve there. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Let me just kick this off by saying I did a post a couple days ago about that. Really, the highlight was on facing your fears and embracing your fears. And I got to tell you, I have had access to go live on LinkedIn for over a year now. And this is my first broadcast. I'm not sure what was holding me back, except for the fact that when you go live to a community like this, when you can be global and you're not sure who's going to tune in, it is a little intimidating. So, thank you so much for being here and for commenting throughout. And really what I want to do is I want to have a conversation. Hey, Karen. I think that one of the biggest reasons I choose LinkedIn as my platform, number one, is the quality of people here. I've met so many amazing people. And I think if you are on LinkedIn and you're regular and you're really part of the community, then you want things. Right? You're here to, improve something about your job. Maybe you want to build your personal brand. Maybe you're going to start a business. My girl Kathleen kicked off her own business this year, just a few months ago. So big shout out to her. And you're interested in personal and professional development. Right? You want to get better. You want to contribute to the world. And I think that is incredibly powerful. Nashville, Music City. Hey, Dave Jackson, thanks for joining. I love the fact that we can all get on here together. And most people I've met on LinkedIn have been absolutely fantastic. and we can really learn from each other. So for me, just let me introduce myself a little bit. I think most of you know me, but just as a quick recap, I was a previous corporate executive at General Electric. That was the majority of my career. I was primarily on the operations side, and I was, just leading a global team. And really through my 20s and 30s, I was taking on a new assignment every 12 to 14 months. Every time that they asked me to do something new, I would just go for it. I was in love with working at GE. I was so proud to be there. I thought it was fantastic. I filled up a passport. I got the experience as a very young professional and someone coming from a small town in Maine to work with people from all over the world and have real friends and relationships and learn about different cultures and different religions. And it was an incredibly powerful experience. But what happened is, with all that running around, I really lost track of myself as a woman, as a young person in the world. What did I want to do? Who did I want to be? I was so focused on grinding it out for the company, and the company loved it. Let's be honest. I was so focused on grinding it out that I really lost track of myself. So instead of living in very spherically in a 360-degree way, I was very linearly focused on my job, my career. And again, I loved it. I loved to work hard. I loved grinding it out. I loved those big, Oracle or Salesforce or whatever ERP project implementations where you're working all hours and the weekends and you're just giving everything you have. I loved that. The problem is that I neglected my health. I neglected my sleep. I neglected my family. I neglected my personal relationships. And I really just completely lost sight of what is it that I want to do in this world? What do I want to be? How do I want to contribute beyond gas turbine and power, right? Which is a very big macro problem. But I wanted to do something a little bit more intimate, help people in a different way. And I just wasn't sure how to do that. And when I realized I had a weight problem, I had a sleep problem, I had an eating problem, things really took a different priority for me. So this is true story. So my last big team, when I was working in gas turbine operations, I was prepping for my global new manager orientation, right? I had a team coming in from all over the world, and it fiscally made sense. I made the budget work to get together in Florence, Italy. Hey, Daniel. Florence, Italy, just beautiful place, right? Who's not going to love their leader taking them to Italy as an orientation trip? And it was phenomenal. But here's the thing. As I was packing for this trip, and if anyone can relate to this, I don't care if you're a guy or girl on this one, if you can relate to this, drop some fire emojis or something on here for me. But I was just packing for this trip, and I realized I didn't have any clothes that fit me. That was so depressing and so eye-opening and so frustrating because, when you're leading a team, when you're leading a big organization, when you're meeting people for the first time, you want to be at your best. You want to be on top of it. You want to be confident. You want to feel good, because if you're feeling good, if you're looking good, you're just going to show up in a whole different way, right? Hey, Calvin, I know, super wow. So I went to the mall. I went to Banana Republic. I'm in the dressing room trying on clothes, just getting so frustrated because I was going from, 2 sizes up from where I normally was. Now, I went to the trip. The trip was amazing. But to this day, when I look back at pictures, and I've used some of these pictures as like my befores and my before and afters, I cannot believe how I didn't notice that I let myself get so out of control. Because face it, when you're in those big work projects, right, they're bringing in food, and it's always what? Pizza and sub sandwiches, and there's coffee and there's sodas, and then there's trips and there's happy hours, and there's all this stuff, which, hey, I love food. I'm a foodie, but all that stuff just really doesn't serve you and your health and your needs over time, right? So, Kathleen, you can hear that? Yeah, girl, I know. So fast forward. I 18 months, I went trying to figure out how I could lose this weight. And I was killing it in my gym 5 or 6 times a week. I go to work, I go to the gym, I go home. But I was eating terrible things like lean cuisines and slim fasts and all this stuff that diet culture tells us we're supposed to do if we want to lose weight. The problem was nothing was really working. And, I didn't look good. I looked tired. I wasn't sleeping well. My skin wasn't good. I was kind of bloated. I mean, these are all things that don't set you up for success. When you're leading a big team and organization and you have a lot of eyes on you, again, I don't care if you're a guy or a girl. When I look at someone and they are put together and they look great and you can tell they're fit, they're taking care of their health, what do you see when you see someone like that? Thanks, Kelvin, but I wasn't always like that. I see somebody who's disciplined. I see somebody who's organized. I see somebody who's confident. I see somebody who takes pride in themselves. Sorry, I just keep checking the LinkedIn to make sure we're still alive here. But that's what I see when I see somebody who's fit. So when I wasn't looking like that, I didn't feel like, number one, I was setting a very good example for anybody, but I certainly wasn't taking care of me, right? I was all about my company, but Jen Oknin, LLC, I was not acting like the CEO of my own life, right? I know we've probably all heard that phrase, but it's so apt here. So after about 18 months, I was introduced to a woman who looked fabulous, had it all together, all those things that I was just talking about. And I was like, okay, I want what she has. So I stalked her a little bit on Facebook because, yeah, we do that, right? I know probably so many of you have looked at all my posts and you've never liked, you've never commented, right? Seriously, I know that happens. So I got with her and she actually was working with a network marketing company. It was a company called Isogenics and I'd never heard of it. I didn't have any, network marketing is good, bad, whatever. This was back in 2013, 2014. And I just said, sure, I'll try it because I was desperate. I've been doing everything at that point to try and lose weight and feel better. And I just couldn't. I was so busy. I didn't have time to cook a lot of stuff, whatever. So I ordered one of her systems. I used some of her coaching and 1 month later, I was down 13 pounds. And we had WebEx at that time for our virtual meetings, right? And I had employees who were working for me in Saudi saying, Jen, wow, you look good. What are you doing? That is the best feeling. I don't care who you are. That is the best feeling. So that was, basically 10 years ago, right? So 39, 40 years of age, and I got it together. So then fast forward to now, right? This whole past decade, I've been going through post-birth control syndrome, which is a topic I'll probably talk about. Been going through perimenopause and transition. I'm fully in menopause, right? I'm 49 years old. I will be 50 in October. And the last decade has really been a journey for me in terms of where I left my corporate career. The network marketing company gave me a vehicle to leave. And then I got certified as a holistic nutrition coach, right? An integrative health practitioner. I started my online virtual woman's clinic health practice, which has been amazing. And now, I'm trying to reach women who, through lack of knowledge, lack of focus, lack of attention, lack of understanding, are suffering and they've let themselves go and they don't know where to go for answers. And Instagram or whatever isn't doing it, and friends aren't doing it, and family's not doing it. Because if you're anything like me, like my mom, God bless my mom, I love her. She is amazing. I love my mom. I get my best qualities from her. But we didn't talk about a lot of things. And I think generationally, that's pretty normal. So I didn't know that the women in my family went through menopause early. Would have been nice. I didn't even know what perimenopause was. Calvin, Jen, you don't look a day over 31. You crack me up. Thank you. So where was I? Okay. So these things aren't talked about freely. And though there's a lot more information coming out, there's still not a ton. And I think there's a lot of topics around how, as a woman, once you hit 40 and things start changing, we're basically riding a wave of change, right? Hormonal changes that can, attribute to a million different symptoms. And it impacts, everything, how we feel, how we think, how we talk, everything. And so we really have to make sure that we're equipped with knowledge and that we're equipped with great habits to keep ourselves our healthiest as we ride through those changes. Because, right, hey, if I gain back weight through menopause, sure. I mean, it's what happens. But then I know what to do to get that back down again, right? We just ride these kind of hormonal waves. And men that you're on here, this is so important. I'm glad you're here because you're going to be able to pick up some great things from me from a wellness perspective. But listen to me on this one. The women in your lives, maybe it's your sister, your wife, your daughters, right? They're going to be going through these changes. And it's so important that you support them. There's, if you're anybody, you might not want to comment on this, but have you ever gotten feedback on a work review that your attitude's changed? You're not the same person. Your husband says, wow, I mean, you're different. You're snapping all the time. You're doing these things. That's hormones, and it's real, and it's not something necessarily that we can control. And if we're not aware that it's happening, it's very difficult to mitigate it, right? To do things with it. So through these lives, through my work with women, through my posts, I want to educate people. I want to educate people on what's going on. I want to educate because women who are going through perimenopause and menopause in the workplace are really misunderstood, right? They could be up there. Have you ever seen this? You're in a meeting, right? And there's a woman presenting and she starts sweating and you think, oh gosh, she must be really nervous. Maybe she doesn't know her stuff. No, she's probably having a hot flash. Okay. She knows her stuff. She's just dealing with a lot of things that you don't have to deal with. Like, men, if your testosterone went up and down like this, you'd be acting a little crazy too. So I really do want to be a voice for education on this topic, as well as what are the fundamental things or the big boulders, as I'll call them, that we can do to help get the fundamentals right? Because when you have the fundamentals right, the changes are easier to navigate. Yeah, Kathleen, for sure, girl. Because those fundamentals are important. And as an example, because it's not just one supplement. It's just not one thing. It's just not to eat this 1 tablespoon of something every day and everything's going to be better. No. Because I don't care what you're taking. I don't care how amazing this one supplement is. If you're not sleeping, if you're not getting enough protein, if you're not eating enough vegetables, if you're not taking time out to relax, if you're not moving your body, those are the big boulders, right? Clean air, drinking enough water. You've got to get those fundamentals down because no supplement in the world is going to help you if you don't. Does that make sense? Does anyone else agree with that? Does that make sense? Because that's fundamental to my coaching philosophy. Another reason why I wanted to come on here, sorry, I went off a little bit on a tangent, but why am I doing these lives? I want people to understand who I am and get a flavor for, what's Jen about? What are her fundamentals in terms of her program? You've all seen me, posting about my Fatigue to Fabulous program, right? Where's the name come? Shift from Fatigue to Fabulous. My company Shift into Health. My program is called Fatigue to Fabulous. Why? Because I was an exhausted wreck who wanted to feel fabulous. And when I got my act together, when I started managing the big boulders, all these things fell into place. Calvin, makes perfect sense. Yes, I love it. Okay, anybody else on here? We got some other folks. Beverly, Karen, yes. Thank you, girl. So you just got to get the fundamentals right. And then you got to educate yourself on other things. And it's not always easy. A lot of the posts I put up here, I'm posting to myself, good reminders, right? Because sometimes it's easier to coach others than to do. Anybody relate with that? Yeah, it's true. So I still have to work on my fundamentals, right? So again, LinkedIn Live, I think, is a fantastic way to let people learn. Again, I'm going to keep these 30 minutes or less. Let people pop in, let people catch the replay. So if you're catching the replay, please drop that in the comments too, #replay and where you're from. But just to add a little bit of focus in your day, because if you are truly acting as the CEO of your own life, we have one life to live, then why are you putting too much time and attention and focus just on your professional life, maybe somebody else's company, somebody else's dreams? Why are you not using all these approaches that you use in your career? Like all the things I learned as a corporate leader, right? The data, right? The team building, the community aspect. Why are you not applying those things to your own life? You are more than what you do. I love what I do, but I'm more than this. I love to do other things. I have a vision for my life in 10 years. I do this thing. It's called the morning formula. My business coach got us turned on to this. I think it's amazing. So you write out basically a vision of what your life is going to be like in 10 years. And every morning before you get going, you read that. What is that vision for your own life? Kathleen, yes, Kathleen started her own company because she had a vision for how her life wanted to be. And if she's running her own company, then it makes it a lot easier for her to dictate how all the rest of her life is going to work, right? Right, Kathleen? You and I have talked about this. Beverly, yes. Karen, yes. So you've got to apply that same discipline to your career, to your personal life, right? Are you taking care of those big boulders? What do you want to do? Do you want to travel? Why aren't you traveling? Okay. You don't have the time. You don't have the money. Okay. Put some time and money in. When I decided that I wanted to leave my job at GE, I worked for 2 years on my network marketing business so that when I left, I would have something to roll into. And even then I didn't, immediately make 6 figures. All right. Whoever tells you that, don't work with them. That's just a load of crap. Sorry. But you have to take time and you have to plan your exit strategy, leave with dignity. I did. And I have so many clients from my past company. It's fantastic. I love it. So in this LinkedIn Live series, some of the topics that I've put out there and I've thought through are topics that I talk a lot to my clients about. So where are my notes? Here are my topics. So talking about concepts like mastering the big mastery 3, right? I have to meet people where they're at. You have to meet you where you're at. Don't think immediately that you're going to go from 0 to 100 miles an hour on your wellness journey, right? Prioritize and take some simple steps and then move on from there, right? Master 3. I'm going to talk about a concept called pro-aging. Like I said, I'm going to be 50 years old on October 11th. And my husband and I are taking this amazing trip to Austria, going to Vienna, going to Salzburg. I'm going to be climbing some mountains, looking at some mountain lakes, singing like the sound of music, enjoying myself. And I'm going to have a t-shirt that says 50 and fabulous. Because just because I'm 50 years old, which seemed so old when I was in my 20s, I'm probably going to be in the best mental and physical shape of my life. That's phenomenal because I got another 30, 40 years of living to do, right? So what is the concept of pro-aging? I'm going to talk a lot about this, but I hate that concept, anti-aging. How boring, how terrible. Am I against aging? No, pro-aging, baby. You got to love the age you're at and you got to make the most of it. Right? Talking about exercise. Exercise, especially for women, should evolve a little bit as you go, right? And we'll talk about impacts on blood sugar, impacts on your hormones, impacts on your thyroid, right? I'll revisit some topics from my last masterclass if you missed that. Talking about, again, the big boulders. How can you start getting those right in your life? And, just tips on how you can, simple tips, things that you can implement right away. And then again, understanding the fundamentals so that we can learn together. So what are some topics that you would love me to cover? Put them in the chat, please, because I'm going to try and work them into my content. Because I really want these sessions to be a little bit interactive as I cover a topic. I want you guys to ask questions in the chat, and I'll try and answer them for you right there. If there's other things you want me to talk about, if it's in my scope and I have some expertise, I'm happy to talk about it. So Pete, what's Pete saying? The two most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why. Mark Twain. Yes, Pete. I love that quote. That's so true. It's so powerful. And it took me a long time, really, truly, to figure things out. Even when I left network marketing, I knew that that wasn't the end all be all, but it was just a good vehicle for number one, for me to learn entrepreneurship, but not have to do everything by myself. I love the products, and it was all about wellness and women's wellness. And that's what I was passionate about. And again, it allowed me to take those steps, learn about sales, learn about marketing, learn about Facebook. I wasn't even on social media 10 years ago, right? And here I am now doing my first live broadcast on LinkedIn. So exciting. So I want you to put some topics in. Okay, Kathleen, what do you want to know about? Beverly, what do you want to know about? Tanya, what do you want to know about? Karen, what do you want to talk about? Who else is on here? I want to hear opinions too on topics, especially if I'm hoping to get more people outside the US. If we talk about menopause in particular, I'm going to be a guest on a podcast called Menopause Buddies, a woman named Annie Rowan. She's based in the UK. And in the UK, I think they're much further along. They still have a long way to go, but I think they're much further along in this discussion about perimenopause and menopause in the workplace, issues that women face, and again, how it impacts men, how it impacts their team, perceptions, all these things. Let's see, anyone? I'm looking here. Tanya, any topics? I'm checking the chats here to make sure I'm seeing everything. Brenda, you still on? What do you want to talk about? Brenda was a fantastic client. Talk about coachable. If you ever engage in a coaching program, whether it's one-on-one, group, whatever it is, be coachable. You don't know anything, right? You don't know everything. Excuse me, not anything. You don't know everything. That's why you're in there. So be coachable. Open your mind. Try the ideas. Kathleen, how to get skin back after weight loss when you're older. Boom. Yes, absolutely. We're going to talk about that. How to get more energy. I love that. So I'm taking notes right now. Energy, skin. Beautiful. Anything else? Guys, what about you? Any questions? Any questions about hormones or menopause? Anything that your wife might be going through, your girlfriend, your sister, your mom? I don't know how old everybody is on here. But, and you can always post too afterwards on the broadcast, post some comments, but I would love to hear more on why. So again, we're getting just about to the end of the 30 minutes. Beverly, wellness, energy, weight loss. Beverly, those are my big three. Are you in my group, Beverly? My LinkedIn group, Fatigue to Fabulous. So guys, this one's just for the ladies. And I guess I will talk about that here for a minute. So in an effort to connect more with my women and my audience here on LinkedIn, I did create a group. I created it in December, and it's very specific. It's for women who are interested in, maybe they're interested in working with me, maybe they're not. That's not a qualifier, but they're interested in learning about how to feel better, how to lose some weight, nutrition, better habits, hormones, movement, and want to have those conversations, but maybe they don't want to type them right up on the main LinkedIn profile wall, right? So LinkedIn doesn't allow live streaming into the groups, which is part of the reason I'm here today, but I'll put all these live streams in the group after, and women can go in there and we can get into a little bit deeper conversation without their bosses, their teammates, their customers, clients, etc., seeing all the comments. So it's a safety thing, right? Because some things are difficult to talk about. I'm just going to talk about it all here, and hopefully to make people a little bit more comfortable about things. Ditto, Beverly. I'm not sure, but we'll check. Yes, Beverly, please check. If you go to my LinkedIn profile, Beverly, there should be a link that says join group. Go ahead and click on that. Okay, so I think that's it for today. So here's my challenge I gave to myself. I'm going to go live every weekday through the end of August. After that, I'm going to pick 1 or 2 days during the week to go live at the same time so people can kind of get used to tuning in, and I'll keep covering topics. But this is like when I tell my clients, if they're going to try a new recipe for the first time, I always say, get enough so you can make that recipe 2 or 3 times in the same week. I don't care if you have the same food 2 or 3 times in the same week. Habits are good. But if you do that, you really learn the recipe. and it gets into your rotation and it's in your mental Rolodex, right? So for me, going live all these days in a row, hopefully I'll get much better at it and much more clear and concise and on topic. And I'll be able to get people used to seeing me on Go Live and encourage you all to interact more with me here. That is the hope. Then after that, once we start September, then I'll just pick a couple days at the same time, or maybe 2 different times. Maybe I'll do like a lunch and an evening. Who knows? We'll see. I'd love to hear your feedback on that. Also, I'd love to hear feedback on what you think makes a good live. If there's people who you think do good lives, and I'll go watch them so I can learn. Because again, this is brand new for me. I'm just thrilled people showed up today. I am so grateful for all of you and that I actually ended up broadcasting live. So that's it for today. I will see you tomorrow. And I believe the topic is, I'm just double checking, tomorrow. The topic is, we're going to talk about hormone health. We're going to talk about using food as medicine approach in terms of balancing hormones. And this can be done for a woman at any age, at any part of their cycle, whether they're cycling regularly, whether they're in perimenopause, or whether they're in menopause. So that's going to be a really, really great hormone-related topic we're going to dig into tomorrow. Thank you so much for everyone joining today. Daniel, so nice to see you too. Good luck on all your competitions. I'd love to get an update. Brenda, thank you so much. Karen, thank you so much. So if you've joined on the replay, put #replay. And again, whatever topics you want to talk about, please put them on there. I will try and incorporate them in. So thank you so much for coming to my first ever broadcast. I'll see everybody tomorrow.